Did I open up the brick? I did. Okay. That's extra stage. Get that mouse off the screen. Your headache is gone after that? Well, that's always a good thing. I tried to take a nap earlier. I laid in bed for like 45 minutes after I got back from work. It was nice, but I just never fell asleep like I was hoping to. You see the survival open matches? No, the only... If there was any going on today, then I definitely didn't see any. The only little bit of it I watched was the little bit I watched on Saturday. You want to finally start doing runs? I mean, yeah, it's always a good way to inspire you. Just inspire in general is watching people do it and you're like, I want to do it. Ooh. What about after you get 4 more Remy LNNs? I thought you're not leaving till you get, what is it, 150 or 200? $150? Oh yeah, it's only $150. Shimmy, shimmy. Bro's got wiggles. Damn, I'm not good at the spells late. I'll take a one miss and get an early practice though. This is the problem. These little bastards right here are really the problem. Like, my 2 Miss Atlases aren't that, like, unusual. And not gonna lie, unlike Yomu, I'm kind of, like, expecting 2 Miss Yomus. Or better. Like, that's just kind of the nature of the Yomu fight. Is it's really high-low, in which is, like, what's difficult and what's not. I hate you. And Yuyuko is more of a stress test than she is like a major wall. She's more just a stress test. So really the problem is just these three. And by these three, it's mostly this one right here. This blonde one. I went to a really bad spot for that. Wah. When am I gonna go for my 100 Prism River LNNs? Ooh, I jumped that stuff too much. Oh, I... Ever mention how much I did, how much these two attacks are really problematic? As bad as you can possibly get? That is false. That is false because that is not a Sakuya B LNN in DDC, so you're actually just a liar. I hate to break it to you. If you truly hated yourself, you'd be going for that, so... You want to have fun too? Sometimes I doubt that. Why do I keep deciding to loop around the right there? And then I get trapped, I trick myself and be like, oh, I need to cut back to the left. And then I poop myself. Damn, that's pretty clean. How little damage does I and Sakuya deal? I never played with the Scarlet team. I don't think the little bit of Imperishable Knight I've ever seen has really been Scarlet team either. And also, don't say, oh, you think homing does little damage, because I know it does little damage. It's not like I'm trying to convince myself of that fact. Wossendorfer. I don't speak German. Where's 11 when we need him? To be honest, that could be that looks like it could be like Swedish or something. So you're telling me that Solo Sakuya is literally the greatest? Or Norwegian, or whatever. I don't know what language that is for sure. It just looks German. If it's music-based, then it's probably German. Makes the game over for a minute long. So what you're telling me is that Solo Sakuya in Imperishable Night is kind of like playing Sakuya in POFB. I hate when you see it coming. Listen, I'm not saying, oh, it's better, oh, yeah, it's good, it's the same. I'm saying it's comparable. Sakuya is the worst, isn't she the worst shot type in the game that takes, like, almost triple as long as, like, Aya and Medicine? So in comparison to a lot of the rest of the game, you know, it's comparable. Right? How did I do that? The one nice thing for this attack, at least in practice and stuff, is the hardest part's the very beginning. And the very end, which is a little annoying for that, but like the hardest part's the very beginning. That was such a bad way to dodge that. Like, this one just sometimes decides it wants to give you a wave that just kills you. And then this one, it's just a lot of bullets. Figure out how to get around. Probably should have gone right quicker. gets difficult because you want to kind of play defensive, but in reality, really the way to get through is to play a very aggressive. But in this one, it's kind of opposite. Like, it's really nice to play defensive. I can't believe I keep dying to this part. That's what you want to do there. That's good enough with what you want to do there. Yeah, that's how you do it. It's just finding the lineup consistently. The difference of this non to the last two nons is so polarizing. Yeah, perfect prison river. Oops. That wasn't even a bad one, I just succumbed to my idiocy. Oh, I freaking low, too low. Damn. Okay, so let's get all these bad HGS is in right now. What? I thought for sure I would have done it. I think that bullet had a bit of a wider angle than I thought it did. Excuse me. HGS on the top of the screen. Nobody's ever thought about it that way before. But it's actually clearly optimal. Yeah, let's get all my bad HGS worms out of the way right now. What is? Well, I had a nice one yesterday. Actually, I think a couple nice ones. Too slow. I'm hesitating too much. I'm not seeing paths like I should be. There's a pebble amidst the big rock. Why is it so horizontal? That is... Oh, these are not good HGSs. Wasn't sure which way to go. Very nice and open gap that time. What is this has got to be my worst stretch I've had of this attack. I am not getting anything. being reminded as to why this is the second hardest part of the entire run. Foolish. So I don't actually have to cut back on this one. Well, depending on what I see, maybe it would just be best to take wide dodges and then cut back. It says low health until it doesn't. Yeah. Well, the problem with attacks like that is, you know, 5 seconds can feel like an eternity in attacks like that. Especially with, I mean, I'm not saying Rainbow homing is going to be better than any other shot type during that, but especially when you gotta stay under her and the entire time you're just wiggling around so much, just trying to desperately to survive, and you get into a stretch where you're just not dealing a lot of damage. Wow, look, the first time I got past HGS, I killed her. I don't know how decent she is at Meister. It's just probably not her worst spell. It's one of those instances where you're like, I guess homing is maybe not the worst. Surprisingly tight at times. Maybe not surprisingly, maybe it's more than reasonable because it is a... Here's the problem with my experience with Reimu homing on Scarlet and Sokyo. Is because it's such a high HP pool, your homing chip is really meaningless. Like, the only time homing damage is really usually very relevant is stage portions. Which is why, you know, Spam and Stage 5 of LoL K, two of the most notorious stage portions, are, you know, done better by with homing. That's usually where homing is, because its damage is so low that it's rarely ever better elsewhere. Or even particularly, like, good. I guess you could sort of give an exception to, the Gohei from DDC, but despite the fact that it has homing properties, I wouldn't really call it a homing rainbow. More its own thing. Like, homing is less of a tool to help you kill bosses from further away while not having to stay under them. And more of a... it's not as punishing to be away. That's the better way to look at it. It's not gonna... It's by no means a carry in those things. It's just not quite as punishing to not be below them. How many waves of this are there? Is it like 8 or something? I don't know how often they trigger. Is it like 10? There's 3 more, right? That one right there is always awkward. I gotta get myself more middle so I'm not in the vulnerable spot to the bubbles. Because at this point where there's a big enough gap between the bubbles and the red balls, it doesn't really matter. Then late, it really does matter. Oops. I gotta pay attention where she moves. You can chunk, Skylick and Sokyo. Didn't know that. Does she, like, not have armor or anything for a second? Or damage reduction of any sort? For, like, a brief period at the start of the fight? I gotta see where she stands and make sure I'm a little bit more... trying to end centered to where she is. Guess that's a underrated little thing you gotta figure out. The hard part about this attack is getting from the last red wave to the... that was dumb. To the bubbles. He has no armor in the transition? Interesting. Is it kind of like Okina? Where you try to, like, where you can, chunk her final with your... What is it? What was it? The release? Oops. Bruh. Dude. Wow, I had like 50-50 last week. And I'm not getting any of these. Ryuko's themes. They're so good. I also love how these bullets are significantly smaller than they appear. Imagine dying to this part. That'd be tragic. That'd be one of the most tragic things you could do. Ultimately, you chunked like 20% of her HP? Well, that's notable. Well, no, the strat is obviously you delay Meister until you can position yourself directly below her, right? Like, that's so easy. Just delay Meister at another wave. How hard is that? So you can be positioned perfectly to get the optimal damage, right? I was, lo and behold, I was mostly joking with that one. After all, there's a big difference between the hardest spell in the game and a difficult spell that is not the hardest spell in the game. Like, I feel like, if anything, if it was the other way around, you'd rather line up you'd rather delay a Skarlik and Sokyo another little bit to get a better Meister if you could. Rather than the other way around because of the spells and what they are, you know? Like, I can't say this... Really? Like, I can't say this for fact, but I feel like most people would rather... would be more than willing to sacrifice 3 to 5... having to live 3 to 5 seconds of Skarlik and Sokyo to trim off 2 seconds of Meister. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think I am. I mean, sacrificing time in one attack to make another attack easier isn't anything completely unusual. You do that in Sakyu, right? With one of her spells, you try to delay the spell. I forget which one. To line up her non to make it easier. So it's not like it's a it's not like it's a foreign concept. Although, unfortunately, you cannot delay anything to make Meister easier. Bro, yapping about? We're just yapping about Scarlet Meister. And homing damage, other damage, Scarlet Meister, Skarlik and Sokyo. some other attacks. But mostly just homing damage. Well, yeah, of course. You know that's the thing about Scarlet Kinsokyo is a lot of its difficulty comes from its variability, or as you put it, the instability of it. Like Maestro's always hard. There is randomness, but like it's always hard. But Kinsokyo has like she can be really kind at times. I wonder how easy Hidden Stars LNN would be if it wasn't for the finals. Being so polarizing. Star, so yeah, Hidden Star is surprising. Because I feel like a lot of people treat that game as rather easy comparatively when it might be, but like it's got its. I think one thing that hurts Hidden Star's reputation in that regard is the fact that it came after both DDC and All-K. Well, how much of shit finals are there? Because they were still rated as what, like... They were still rated, what, 8-point-somethings, was it? The fall and winter finals? I forget exactly, but... I know they're still up there. But also imagine playing that game with fall and winter shot type. What are you, a loser? Only real players play with Spring. Reimu Spring, specifically. That's the true Chad play. Anyone who doesn't play Reimu Spring is actually just a fake Touhou fan. Like, if you aren't capitalizing on your homing, what are you doing? Chino Spring users? No, Chino's not real. Yeah, it was a long K difficult, so it's easy. Unfortunately, there is a... It doesn't seem to be as relevant nowadays, which is pretty cool. There's a seemingly elitist mindset that can hold that at times. It's not one of the hardest games. It's easy. Although, that's not a Touhou thing. That's just a thing in general, right? Oh man, this thing was hard. Well, it probably wasn't as hard as Dark Souls, so like, it's gotta be easy, you know? Not the best, it's worse, exactly. Like when I say that I like Ron's theme, Necrofantasy, more than I like Yukari's theme, Necrophantasia, the appropriate response is, oh, you hate Necrophantasia. Right? But, boop. you know, when I say I like Remy more than Flan, the correct response is, wow, you think Remy's the worst, you think Flan is the worst character. I almost said that wrong. By almost, I mean I did say it wrong. I just had to correct it. That'd be like if I sat down and was like, oh boy, this game's hard. And people were like, well, it's actually kind of easy. You know, it's not, because it's not USD, it's not LOL-K, it's not UFO, right? It's actually just kind of easy. Although, actually, this game is actually not hard. It is just unfair. We figured that one out before, remember? PvE game, can't be hard. The shot isn't as complex as S.A. Patchy. Come on, I got an LNN of LOL-K, Marissa, well blindfolded, strapped to a chair backwards with one hand. Like, whatever you do is just worthless. Like, honestly, it's just so easy in comparison. I don't know, every time I've ever heard, at least prior to me streaming, every time I ever heard stuff about Hidden Star, I got the bad laser. It's been a while since she did that one. I was not even looking for it. Like, the only real difficulty I've ever heard for the longest time is people, like, talking about the dancers. But every time at least prior to me streaming, I heard about that game, I was like, oh, that's one of the easier games. That's probably partially because the casual fan base that aren't doing, you know, the masochistic no bombs, no anything runs are, you know, using release. Crazy how that works to make the game more fair. Yeah, I mean, I'll sit here and talk about how some of the fighters are hard on normal, because I'm not good at those games, right? Like, there are people who are way better at me that could go down and probably play those games hitless on normal pretty easily. Maybe not pretty easily, but definitely could pretty well. And there are people who sit down and play this game on easy mode and struggle. Skill gap. Who's the shit shot in Hidden Star? What's the worst? Is it like Juno Spring, I assume? I assume it's all the spring types. I assume those are all the worst. Dude, he's nuts. Damn, got him. Because he could care less about competitiveness. Yeah. Bro. He died on stage 1 like 3 times. It's over. Now, what are you talking about, Domikos? If you play Lost Branch on normal, and you're excited because you want to run, you're honestly just garbage. Like, if you're not playing L7, no added cards to your deck, max, small modifiers, whatever, like, what are you doing? Like, honestly, the game's just so easy, right? He also the one that did the 1000 set, the Millennium set of one of the Mayan Satono Nons. I am trying to be I'm being ironic, but I'm trying to like say it in a way that comes off as like genuine as possible, because there are people who will genuinely believe that. I guess my acting skills are not the worst. So about 20 caps into a 1000 set? What are you talking about? You don't want to sit there and do the same attack over and over, following the same exact setup to make sure you clear it every time for about 3.5 hours or whatever it was. Actually, it might be more. I don't even remember for sure. Yeah, the rule about have fun is always an important thing. I mean, some people enjoy pushing the difficulty and competitiveness of things. I enjoy playing Lost Branch on L6. I enjoy it quite a lot. But not everyone will. Yeah, I was on Alice, but I was also on Alice for literally about 3 minutes, so. Because once again, I'm gonna start on Alice, because she's the first thing I want to practice in the day. But I was also out of Alice pretty quickly today. Meeting's not fun for me. I've not grown up because I had siblings in the opposite department, but maybe you need to practice Letty? Shit, you're right. Letty's actually the biggest wall in the game. I mean, the thing about competitive baddest, well, yeah, I know she's huge. She's so chunky, unbelievable, lady. I mean, I've lived the... Like, I got an Alice so quickly, and I was able to play against the Prism Rivers, but like... Ugh. I've lived the bad laser before. It's just, I'm usually not paying attention for it. I'm usually lazy on stage 1. No, because if I play with a run like that, it's just gonna be the most depressing experience, is the problem. You may argue it is as is, but I would argue otherwise. Playing out a bad start is just a recipe for ruining your head. Well, that's the problem. If, say, I have perfect Prism River and Yoga back-to-back, the entire thing is just going to be me hating myself because I had a bad stage 2. It's like, look at this, what this could have been. Like, I already do enough of that as is when I die to Alice and stuff. Why are you all the way over there, Shoddy? I mean, when it comes down to people playing things competitively and stuff, or however close to that, I don't even say I'm, like, I take Touhou competitively. Like, it's just... It's me competing against myself at the end of the day. But it's like... Most things I do, I don't take super seriously. Like, I like to play on harder difficulties and stuff, but that's just kind of my nature. Some of the time, you know, some things like fighting games, I'm a lot less interested in that. But... Touhou is the thing that I've set my sights to. Not everyone does that to things like this. And you can kind of tell because if you look at the LNNs, as much as something may be an easier LNN, LNNs still don't exceed like 200. What's the LNN that has the most players? Not the most different. Not the most LNN, because like some players have multiple different like shots types and everything. What's the LNN with the most players that have LNN'd a game? And what is that number? Someone should look that up real quick for me. To prove a point. It's like very few people are willing to grind this grind. But I saw it, what, 6 years ago? A little under 6 years ago at this point. And I was like, I want to do that. And that's why I'm here. I was like, I want to be the best Touhou player I can possibly be. Odd LNN. You don't know how much I want to, son boy. After this game gets done, whenever that inevitably is, I'm probably going to go to Subterranean, but... Cats walk? Do they really? I mean, I guess they have 4 legs, so they probably walk. Guess it makes sense. Maybe I'll just skip cats walk like some people do. I'd love to say I wouldn't skip Cat's Walk. And I played ethically. Because I did do that in my 1CCs, but... I can't promise I'd maintain that mindset over 100 attempts. I'd like to pretend I would. Skip something you're afraid to do ethically? I mean, Cat's Walk is probably the hardest attack in the entire game. So yes, I am afraid of that attack. That attack is brutal. Not only is it the hardest attack in the entire game, it's easily one of the hardest, like... It's easily up there in some of the harder attacks for Touhou. Like, I'm not going to argue it's a top 10 or anything, but... Remove B recollection attacks? Recollection attacks, sorry. I don't know how hard they are compared to the others. Just to be honest, I never really played any of the others. I'd argue they're fairly difficult, but it's been a while. It's been a while. Like, the first one is just, oh, here's a billion bullets on screen. Forcing you to jump from corner to corner. Or from side to middle to side to middle to side. The second one is not too bad, but it does have some bit variability in my opinion. And the third one is just, I hate fog. I hate fog. I hate fog. Corey's version of Double Act Butterfly is harder. I think I've heard that too. But again, I've never played... I have played Satori's version like once or twice. That's the Kimon Toko we love. So, Satori's attacks with Reimubi are certainly not easy by any means. I could not speak to how they're regarded to compare to some of the others. Fog's annoying just because it drags you throughout the entire screen. And it's so long. Because you don't have true Omen, you can't even, like... Yeah. Because it's so long, you can't even, like... I don't know what I'm getting at. Point is, it's a long spell. It's an annoying spell. Is it, like, super difficult? I couldn't say. It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, I hated Fog in the fighting games. Not as much, to be honest, as I did in the others, but I still hated that attack. Fog in 19? No, because Suika was actually, like, pretty fine in 19, at least with the attack types I fought her as. Because, like, I fought her as Reimu. I don't think I fought her as any others. But once I got, like, good at figuring out the angle, I realized that you can literally just, like... You can kill Fog before she gets to you, if you do it properly, as Reimu. So it's not a concern, as long as you execute it right. Took me a little bit to figure that one out, but... To be fair, I kind of did still hate the Fog, because it was Fog. I am just... Speaking of Fantasy Seal, I was thinking I was going to do some good old Reimu run later. I don't know if I was going to do Reimu A or B, though. Might grab swap starting item, but... I was very much thinking of doing some good old Rainbow. New C mod. I did see that there was like the C exhibit mods or whatever, but I haven't looked into those. New swapping day? Yeah, I just kind of decided that like a minute ago. Like I said yesterday, I was gonna play some Lost Branch today. But I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, and then I thought about it. I was like, I want to do some Reimu. Don't get me wrong, I want to try Patchy and stuff. I would like to play as her and some of the other modded characters maybe at some point. But I don't feel like doing that right now. I might hit that this weekend. But, you know, I've just done a bunch of modded Yomu. I did back-to-back modded Yomus on stream. And throughout the week, the few runs I did off-stream were all modded Yomu. So I feel like going back to vanilla for a minute. Is Yomu fun? Yeah, I like the Yomu. My only complaint, and it's only a mild complaint, is just how, like, she is really reliant on her starting item, so you kind of don't want to swap it. More so than the vanilla characters, which is the how many times have I died to this stage today? Holy moly. Attributes line needed. Neat. I mean, of course you don't need it to win. You can get a lot of things, but like... Specifically, the B Yomu is like really powerful exhibit that's kind of built around. But... Yeah, you did? Started 5 lives? Who cares? Who cares about the starting lives? I've died to stage 1 like 6 times right now. So this is a very, very contrarian mode that's going on right now. Yeah, here we have game glitch. I'm just getting so greedy for this P, and I'm just, like, struggling. What was the, what was the misses? What was the feel? No big P. Yes, now that you succeeded on your run, I need you to I need you to tell me exactly everything that went wrong. What was I saying about you? Oh, I was making a slight joke, 'cause you're like, the mod stuff is either like sloppy shit or it's gourmet shit, and I was like, yeah, yeah, some people will make some sloppy stuff. Anyway, we have game glitchers. Because that is a joke. Double death to Lava Cromlech. How much did you want to kill yourself after double dying to that? TNM, that's what, like, Thousand Needle Mountain, is it? Something like that? Double the killing doll. Oof. Hey, you did it. Okay, now where's the LNN? Where's the LNN? Subtract 5, just subtract 10 misses. Easy. Sorry to take slot. Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like, it's gonna be a lot of design. It's gonna be tests, and then it's gonna be like, okay, how the hell is this? How do you fix some of this? I feel like puking everywhere because I'm dying at this stage. How do you erupt into vomit after you win? I could see myself doing that after I lose tragically, but not after winning. Have you been drinking too much? Is that why? I feel like I'd pass out before I puke over stress. Although maybe that's not true. Well, I guess one of the easier ways to go about trying to craft, trying to figure out your card list and stuff, because you can come up with some blocks. You can come up with the more defensive cards. You can have some interesting rares. You can come up with some nice abilities. You can come up with some good attack cards. Da 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 da. But it's trying to figure out and like draw cards. It's trying to figure out the ratio. So I feel like one of the most important things to do is to probably just look at the base set. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll glance at this when I open up Lost Branch later. But it's to try to figure out how many like what. Let's look at Reimu. Let's look at Reimu's rares and just see like what's the proportion of like bulk to damage and stuff. How much expensive shit is there versus cheap shit, and try to like base around that for a little bit. Try to design the boring stuff after the main game, and by the boring stuff, I'm not meaning like, oh, here's your block 15. But, the boring stuff like balance. Yeah, seemingly counter discreet. Yeah, because, I mean, it's like you need to have, like, you need to have shitty block cards. And by shitty, I mean, like, boring-ass block. Right? Like, Yomu has that one card, it's what, 2 yellows, 15 block, add the Slash of Eternity to hand. It's a pretty boring-ass card, all things considered, generally speaking. But, like, you gotta have those cards, right? Like, not everything can be a rare card with 10 paragraphs of text, right? As much as you may want it to be. Boring but good, exactly, yeah. Because, like, not everything can be flashy. You need to have your flashy things. I'm just gonna blow up the moon. Well, it's not bad to have normal cards that are still have fun effects or something. Like I said, I mean, that double block is still Yomu inspired, right? You still got that Slash of Eternity and stuff that's added in there, so it's not like it's... Like, that card is very clearly inspired after the idea of the base game. There's the card that is 2 yellows, or two whites. I'm gonna call it yellow, because it looks more yellow to me, IMO. But it's 2 yellow, gain 15 block, exile a card, right? It ends up being the similar type of thing. So inspiring a lot of your balance after that is probably a good idea. But I'll do more do some pondering, especially now that I know a bit more what you're going at. I am just not playing well. Well, you don't want to, like, you definitely don't want to rip 1-for-1 or anything, right? But designing your cards in a way that they designed is probably a very good thing. Like, what I'm more getting at is the mana cost to number ratio, right? That's why I referred that you know, double white, gain 15 block. Exile a card. Multiple characters have that, right? Because there's that basic card that's, you know, 2 whites do that. They gave that kind of effect to Yomu in that mod, but Marissa has that, right? Because she has, the double black, gain 15 block if the last card you played is black, draw 2 cards. Because when you exclude colorless mana, you just kind of lock into that, you can kind of be a bit more greedy with the numbers, because the restriction of playing the card is so much higher. At least a little bit higher. Yeah, well, that's not a bad thing to not know what you're doing mana-wise, right? Or even numbers-wise. Like, a lot of it is just, like, getting the base for what you want with cards. And then, unfortunately, playtest, right? It's playing with it and then seeing, oh, this feels dog shit, it's too expensive. Oh, this feels too good. And it's also difficult because you kind of want everything to be good, but not, like, absurd. But some cards are going to feel better or worse than others, and that is not a bad thing. Like, just because a card doesn't feel as powerful as something else, in terms of its raw value, like, number value comparably, doesn't make it, like, worse. Or bad, right? Situations are situational, and, like... Like I said, I got work tomorrow, and when I'm at work, I'll try to think of things, as long as I don't stop singing. Ooh! Shoddy making that dodge, though. Yeah, well, that's a thing. Let's take the Yukari card, or you know, it's another card that sucks cock, but isn't always like broken. Is the Great Hakari Barrier. This is a really good example. I think that's what it's called. It's the you know, the Reimu, was it 2 yellow, 3 colorless, all block is barrier. It's a really solid effect, theoretically speaking. It's just most of the time it's pretty shit. But just because it's pretty shit doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. It does have its use, and when you can use it stuff, it's not like... It's not bad, per se. It's just generally weaker than most things more often than not. And more often than not, a dead draw. But just because it's rarely playable doesn't mean it's bad. Or doesn't mean it's a bad design. Not everything can be broken, or should be broken. You probably want your combos. You probably want your cool things to pair together. Like, the Great Hakari Bear has some combos you can do with it. They're very difficult to pull off and stuff, but you can do it. Yeah, spawning it in sometimes can make it a lot easier to get value out of. In a good way. What's in the box? That's why I love what's in the box. Okay. You see, I love trying to disprove the meta, but there's a reality of, like, not trying to disprove the meta, but trying to build around it. Like, the meta's meta for a reason, but instead of trying to be like, it's bad, you just be like... I hate Trayson. Trayson is one of my least favorite cards in all of Lost Branch. I'll say that. I despise that card. I think it's so dog shit. It's like, it's just like, it's a box card, but just awful in my eyes. Personally speaking. But that's me just ranting about a card that I despise. Yeah. Well, that's why you gotta set things up. You play test it, but then you gotta send it to me to play test. Maybe not, it doesn't even have to be on stream, but just play test. Right? Let me ask you a game, Gutcher. What difficulty do you play on normally when you play that game? I usually play on L6, which would be a very different experience than whatever you play for. Which would also help get a lot more feedback. At least a different opinion. I mean, that's always a very respectable thing, is if you're like, hey, I've been working on this for a bit, and I want some feedback on, like, what do you think is, on, like, how good this is or bad this is. And then ask people to potentially playtest, because there are plenty of people, I'm sure. You play an L0? Yeah. Okay, so you're not the furthest off. Yeah, difficulty variety is good, too. Because people play differently on normal, hard, lunatic, and with all the requests. No, I mean, 9% of people don't play L7. It's the, I mean, it's the same. It's the same reason as like most people don't play Touhou on Lunatic, like the main games. Same type of logic. I mean, you're not playing it on the hardest difficulty possible. What are you doing? Like, honestly, you're just bad, bro. Like, you're just so bad. Here's the thing, if I'm playing by myself, I might play on L7. I do kind of, like, enjoy, like, trying to beat L7 runs. But if I'm streaming, I don't like doing L7 because it's just a little bit too difficult for the consistency of streaming. Like, L6 is already a bit rough, but, like, I want to be forced to, like, play well and, like, try to play smart, but L6 still gives me enough leeway, I feel, that I can still do fun stream things. I don't have to be perfect. And I can still get to the Act 3 boss or get to Sage. Even if I don't win, I can still have a good run. L7 is for a lot more when I'm playing by myself. I'm just descending into madness today. I've beaten Chen once. And that one time, I died immediately to Alice's mid. Game Boy Dog World. Like I said, I do kind of enjoy playing L7, but it's rare. Like I say, I have to be by myself. And not wanting to swap starting item. And Chinese players think the game's too easy on L7. Dude, imagine being someone who's like that. I mean, I understand trying to like make it harder difficulty for the fun of the challenge, but imagine being like, this is too easy. I almost feel like you're almost just saying that for the bait at that point. Although I could make some people really angry with a couple comments that I might avoid. I'm gonna avoid making some targeted comments and just say broadly, imagine being such a degenerate that you have no opinion in life besides comparing yourself to things, so you're just like, it's too easy. Imagine the only joy you find is from optimizing yourself to perfection. Oh, it's an interesting concept, I feel. Taking a seeded run, because runs in Lost Branch are seeded, right? Taking a seed and trying to if you lose a run, like on L7 or something, playing the seed over and trying to, like, optimize it. It's an interesting concept that some games allow you to do. Ultimately, it's not for me, but it's a cool idea. Can't do that for fixing RNG. Oh, really? Huh. Weird. Because let me take a game that does have very fixed RNG, and that is Balatro. Balatro's a neat one. In terms of this, I don't play like this because I don't find it too interesting. I don't find it fun, but I find it really interesting. Is setting up seeds, because if you do things, it's like your card draw is always going to be the same if you have the deck set up on the same seed every time. your like the jokers you're offered are going to like always be offered on antes in the same order, so you can do some really like interesting setup like that. Rerolling in Balatro has nothing that does not affect later games or later rounds. That's not how the RNG works. Shop RNG in Balatro only affects your current ante. And individual games only affect themselves. So the RNG can be very consistent. Yeah, but, well, one thing for Balatro too is it's a lot easier to play in a consistent way because there's less like, oh, what order am I going to play these cards in this given situation? Oh, what am I going to... There's less like variation in that regard compared to like Lost Branch. Lost Branch should add critical hits. 5% of the time you deal double damage. 5% of the time the enemy deals double damage as well. Someone make the world's worst mod, critical hits in Lost Branch. But it has to affect both players and the AI, so sometimes you're like, I blocked this perfectly. You just take double damage for no reason. I only have so much more of this game dying over and over again today left in me. Before I decide, you know what, we just wait till tomorrow. You know what the problem is? I don't actually have any milk. I think that's why I'm playing worse today. Yeah, I don't have any of my chocolate or strawberry milk right now, so I'm kind of falling apart. So I was gonna go to Meijer earlier and get milk on my way back from work. But, I had to... My dad had to bring his truck in for oil change and other stuff. Tire something, too. Like, tire... whatever. And, I had to bring him over and then pick him up afterwards. So, by the time I was done with that, it was already, like, way late, and I was like, I don't want to go at this point. So do not eat the strawberry milk. The Promised Land strawberry milk is the GOAT. I'm just gonna call it here. It is very clear that it is not my day. I was doing fine at practice, but we'll be back tomorrow.